there, if you're a low back pain sufferer, you know that being in the car for a long period of time is terrible on your back. And you also know that, and in times when you're in a low back pain flare-up, actually even just a short period of time in a car can be terrible and generate a lot of pain in your body. Because car seats are designed to put you in horrible posture. And what I talk a lot about, folks who are with low back pain, they tend to get stuck in a tuck. So when you are in a car seat, most car seats have you kind of back like this. There's the bucket, and you get stuck. And then your head is way back here, right? It's like you're laying down driving, which is a terrible idea. The other piece of this is that, then they'll have you do a lumbar thing. So now, I don't know if you've noticed, but this is terrible on the neck and the head. And then forget trying to turn and look in your blind spot. I think car seat design is a reason why there's accidents. Because really, you gotta sit up in your car to turn and look in your blind spot. First, here's a little bonus about your neck in the car. Our neck is not designed to turn this way, right? You got to sit up and rotate from your lower body. So there's a little bonus. But I want to show you a really quick fix for how to sit well in your car seat, and it's not get a lumbar support pillow. That's not what I'm going to tell you to do. I actually prefer to support my upper back. I tend to have a pillow that I put here so that I can keep my lumbar curve and sit up nice and tall in the car. So I'll tell you how effective this is, and then I'm going to show you the fix real quick. So I had a client come into me. He was living in Asheville and still running his business down in Atlanta. And he was driving back and forth to Atlanta about 4.5 hours each way, twice a week. And he said he couldn't go more than 45 minutes without terrible pain in his back. And he even had a truck that had slightly better seats than a deep bucket in a sedan, but he still was in terrible pain within 45 minutes every time. I told him this little trick, and then he reported back, and we did some great work on releasing his trigger points. I gave him some balls to show him and showed him how to release some of his own trigger points. And he came back a couple weeks later. He said he was able to go almost the entire trip, almost the entire 4.5 hours to Atlanta from Asheville without having to stop. He said at about 3.5 hour mark, he was like, wait a minute, I actually have to pee. Couldn't remember the last time he'd had to stop just because he had to pee. And it was really because he'd always had to stop because of his back pain. So really we want to support the body in the natural curves of the spine. It's so key. Just taking that little piece of information and putting it into as much of your life as possible, which is why you should burn your couch, because it's very hard to stay in the natural curves of the spine on a couch. So in the car, I understand that we can't all burn our cars and we have to use cars to get around. So one thing that you can do, now some folks, they buy a wedge. I haven't liked any of the wedges that I've tried to put in the car seat to lift up my sitting bones because they don't seem to fit well in the seats and they don't transfer well from one seat to the other. If it fits well in one seat, it's not going to fit well in another. So I just like to use a rolled towel. So I take a hand towel, just a regular old hand towel, and fold it in half, and then fold it in thirds, right? Fold it in half, and then 1, 2. Now you've got a little bit of a thick pad, and just put it on the car seat, and then sit it right under your sitting bones. You should feel your sitting bones. Now notice that this automatically brought my back into its curve. If I take that out and I sit down, now I'm immediately like I lost that curve, right? I'm exaggerating that a little bit, but it becomes effortless to sit up well. If I just slide that underneath, now I've got this nice curve in my back. So I recommend that you try this fix. I'm gonna put my arms up so you could see that nice curve. Put this right underneath your sitting bones. It's gonna make a huge difference. And you might have an experience just like my client did, just the first time you do it, like, So much better, because you're just taking that tuck out of the pelvis, you're taking that reverse curve out of the lumbar spine and actually restoring the curve, that slight curve forward toward the front of your body that your lumbar spine was designed to have in the first place.